right, good afternoon. I think just first of all, just kind of recap from last game. I thought we knew it was going to be a blue collar kind of a game, a hard fought game. And then when you come out and the weather was the way it was, I mean, it was even you knew it was going to be more of that, a defensive type battle, and it was. A very physical game this past weekend against a team that we knew had a really good defense. Had some injuries on the offensive side, and you go in a game like that, points are going to be a premium. You leave the first quarter and nobody scored yet in the second quarter, and we hit the nice screenplay with Marshawn to get us down the red zone. Couldn't punch it in, ended up getting three. And I'm like, man, we feel pretty good. You got 3 points on the board, and and then it's a kind of a back and forth game. I thought special team wise was really the difference in the game. I think overall the kickoff return kind of gave us that edge we needed at that point in time of the game and kind of really sustained it. I think Mark Vasic punted 3 times inside the 20. I thought that was huge. And then, of course, JT making 4 field goals. He's really had an outstanding season for us this year, really bounced back after an average year last year. I'm really proud of the way he's performed and worked at his craft this offseason to be able to do that. And I think, defensively, another great performance by our defense. Really hit the one touchdown pass on us. But other than that, making them drive the ball was big. And then, we took care of the football and ended up winning the turnover margin. That was huge as well. If you think about our 7 wins this year, defense has played really well. We've won the turnover battle in those games. And then conversely, in the ones we have lost, it's been the opposite. We've given up big plays and we've lost the turnover battle. So I think, certainly, winning formula for us this year. Continue to stay aggressive defensively, win the turnover battle, win the explosive plays, and then you got a great chance to win football games, and that's kind of what we've been doing. Proud of the way the guys have continued to battle and to fight each and every week. We understand this week's a big game, obviously, for us. Have not played well in this particular game since we've been here. I think for us, it's about going out, great focus again this week. What we've been able to do. The last month and a half, treat it as today. What can we do today to get better in this particular practice, and have a great week of practice? We know it'll be a physical game, and and hopefully we'll go out and play a great game and get an opportunity to get our 8th win. It's a big thing for us this year, particularly the schedule we've played, the kind of teams we've played this year. One of the toughest schedules in Louisville football history. And to go have a chance to win 8 games was a really good season for us. So we're looking forward to this opportunity this week.
Scott, as you said, you've been pretty rock solid defensively most of the year, and especially in this winning streak. Are you anywhat concerned with the offense? I know last week the wind was a problem. You didn't have Malik, and you have Malik. Do you have any idea yet? And is Tyon, how is he?
Yeah. Well, Malik is still going to be listed day to day. I think we got a much better chance to have him back this week. We'll see kind of where he stands as the week goes by. He'll go out today and do some things with us today as well. So Tyon, he played a few snaps last week. I think, again, he's still battling, the ankle injury, and I think hopefully this week he'll be, to be able to get more opportunity. Really proud of the way Maurice Turner and Joel Jordan played. They played outstanding, and certainly going to count on those 2 guys again this week. But I think Tyon should be available to be able to go play. And offensively, we've done a good job of taking care of the football. We've hit some big plays at times, and it's not been as explosive as we'd like, I think, at times. And certainly want to get in the end zone. I think that's been a big thing for us this year, is not being able to score touchdowns. We've had to rely a little bit more on the field goal. But, if you're playing a really good defense and you're in these games, you're going to have an opportunity in the fourth quarter, and that's what we've been able to do to finish out and win these games. And, hopefully we'll be able to continue to do that. But, yeah, if we can score some touchdowns, that'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Scott, it's so hard to stay consistent in a season no matter what. When you have so many injuries, how do you kind of explain because you gave up a couple big plays in those games that you lost, but other than that, it's been defensively, you've been pretty consistent the entire time, even with some guys in and out of there.
Yeah, I think defensively, we've been really good. The the negatives in the first, from some of those early losses was just the big plays. I mean, we were, still playing good defense. The what we call havoc defense. Tackles for loss, sacks, turnovers. I mean, really, really good this year. I mean, we're number one in the country in sacks. I mean, we're number two in takeaways. I mean, that's, it's hard to get any better than that. And I think for us, we've played a lot of people. We've rotated some guys in and out of there. I think we've played really, really good team defense. We've talked about that. It's not just one person. I mean, Yasir's had an incredible season. He's, to me, should be the leader for ACC Defensive Player of the Year. And certainly a first-team all-conference type player. And Yaya's had an incredible year. But I think more than anything, it's just been the great team defense and been able to put pressure on offenses. Played some tighter coverage, and tackle better, and I think we've done all those things. It's obviously a big challenge this week of a team that, can play big ball and turn and hand the ball off to a big back that can really run and, certainly has talent. The wide receivers are extremely talented this week, can run, they're fast, and we've heard all about the quarterback, top whatever pick, top 10 pick and so we know what we're facing, so it'll be a big challenge for our defense. We got to continue to do the things we're doing to get to this point.
Scott, you alluded to earlier how Louisville hasn't played particularly well in this game. And there's been a lot of guys, some veteran guys that remember the last few outcomes. I guess how motivated do you feel they are to prove that you said the gap has been closed and a much better team?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what we've done in the past is not going to affect anything this season. They got a new team, we got a new team. And I think for us, the guys that have played in the past, I mean, certainly not going to forget that, and I mean, but I think we got to go. It's more about us, in my opinion. We got to go out and have a great practice. We got to prepare well. We got to focus. We got, all those things that we've done, to win games. We got to continue to do. And hopefully go out and play a great game. I mean, I think, but it all starts with your preparation this week, and that's why we got to have a great week of practice.
Scott, follow up on Malik. Has he been able to do anything, and do you expect him to practice this week? Or?
Yeah, I expect him today to do some things. I don't think he'll be, he won't do everything today. He's going to be out there in uniform. He's going to be practicing, but it's not going to be that, where you're getting like normal reps, But he'll be out there. And then I hope, here's the thing we were hoping is, tomorrow a lot more, Thursday a lot more, Friday a lot more, and then by Saturday ready to go. I mean, that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. I think that remains to be seen, but I feel good about it. I think, I feel pretty optimistic that he'll be able to go.
You've mentioned haven't played particularly well against them. How much of it has been have they just been more talented or didn't match up well with them, or they just played well and you guys didn't?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think a little both probably. Last year, going back and look at it, particularly on defense, we didn't really slow them down much at all. And, loose coverages, the Q runs really hurt. Nothing went right. I mean, it was just one of those days, nothing went right. And, even early in the game, it's 14-7, we're driving. We're getting a little bit of a scuffle on the sideline, and we kind of lost our composure, I felt. And from that point forward, it was straight downhill. And, and then the first year, down there, it was one of the nastiest weather days I've been a part of, raining and cold. And at halftime, I think it was a 4-point game at halftime maybe. It was close. And in the second half, we just didn't slow them down. And, so I think, we certainly got to play really good football. We have to. We have to play good in all three aspects. We're not good enough just to go show up. I mean, we got to go play. We got to play great football, complimentary football in all three phases to have an opportunity to win this game. We recognize that. And, again, we got to have a great week of prep.
You mentioned Yasir in his season and the numbers. He has to be up there for Defensive Player of the Year. Yep. Do you kind of push that at all, or do you say, hey, look at the numbers and it kind of shows what it should be? Yeah,
I mean, I'm pushing it right now. I mean, I want any kind of accolade our guys can get, and I think they deserve it. I think, I read a stat this week. Our 7 wins, 5 teams have 7 or more wins, and that's the most in the country. And so what our team's been able to accomplish in winning these games against some really good teams, I mean, that should be talked about. And then it also should be talked about some of the play that some of our guys have been able to have. I mean, Yasir, you know, how many guys in the country have done the things he's done this year, you know, with the sacks, the tackles for loss, and covering guys 30 yards down the field and getting interceptions. I mean, he's a tremendous player. And, you know, on a team that is leading the country in sacks, you know, and he's one of the main guys for that. So I just think he certainly deserves a lot of accolades, and a guy that's stuck it out, you know, and a guy that's been here a long time and deserves the recognition, you know.
Both teams, Scott, are noted for their defense, and you mentioned the physical game and so forth last week. Do you expect that kind of game, or is it hard to know?
No, I do. I expect that. You know, their defense is really good. They're big up front. You know, you're talking 330 with two of their D linemen. You know, they keep everything in front, and they swarm. Their corners are physical. You know, sometimes when you think about being physical, you think about offensive, defensive lines. You know, I turned the film on, and their corners are jamming. They're all up in receivers' face. You know, so it's going to be a physical game. I mean, everywhere. You know, not just O-line and D-line. I mean, it's going to be that way all over. And I think you have to get your mind ready for that. You know, and we've played good physical football, and we got to continue to do that. And we know that's what it's going to be.
Last game of the year for anybody is challenged just because of all you've been through and the depth issues, and you haven't had great depth.
Yep.
This year, how much has depth played into some of the success you've had, and do you feel like you have maybe a few more options than you have in the past as far as people to use, even though you're banged up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been good on I think about the defensive side. We've had some depth on that side of the ball. You know, we've stayed fairly healthy on that side of the ball, which has helped. You know, offensively, we've gotten beat up pretty good this year, and you know that part's been a struggle for us. And I think, you know, you can look and say, all right, well, not scoring as many points this year. Well, that's got a lot to do with it. I mean, we've had a lot of guys in and out of the lineup and had to rotate a lot of guys, and I'm talking at every position. You know, they're all of them. I mean, maybe tight end's the only one potentially, but even Marshawn got dinged up a few games. So, you know, I think that's been the biggest challenge offensively, is to find some continuity and to be able to have the guys available. I feel like every week is somebody else. So to that point, Kandra's back. I mean, you know, he was available last week, didn't really play, but he'll play this week. He'll be back. So that's going to be better for us. You know, that's a 318-pound lineman that we'll be able to put in the game. I think that'll help us up front. But the biggest thing, you know, there is hopefully we'll have most of our guys back this week on offense to be able to play a lot of guys.
What is the status of your running back room? You have Jordan, you have Tyon, but we haven't seen Cooley or Mitchell for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're probably going to stick with those three guys that we mentioned. You know, Tyon to be the third guy that'll be available this week. I mean, he was close last week too. I mean, you know, it was kind of if you need him, play him. You know, and he got in there. I think he got 2 carries, but you know, we didn't need him. You know, and I think I was really proud of Maurice too. I mean, he's a true freshman guy that came in here, and then we basically played the fourth quarter for us. Ran hard, stuck his foot in the ground, and got north and south. Can make some plays. I was really, really proud of him and Jordan. Both of those guys have great attitudes. They come to work every day, don't say anything, and go out there and perform. They're not very big, you know, but they can catch the ball out of the backfield and they can make you miss. And I think in the explosiveness that we saw from Jordan obviously was the difference in the game last week.
2-part question. And when this game is over, you've got a month of recruiting and a bowl preparation and that kind of thing. Do you get involved in the bowl stuff, or let Josh and those guys handle that kind of deal? Do you have any, you know, will you tell them anything? And then about the recruiting, how crazy with 1 month left is it going to be for you guys?
Extremely crazy. The craziest in the history of college football this December for everybody. You talk to any head coach out there, they're going to tell you the same thing. I've gotten a little bit involved with that. I mean, you know, our operations staff has really taken a good look at kind of mapping out some things of hypotheticals, kind of where we potentially would be, and then where we need to and how we need to practice, the days we need to practice, and how do we need to recruit. You know, as you know, they just passed a rule next week. Normally we're out on Sunday, you know, after this last game. Well, that's a dead week next week. So we're in, and then Friday we can go out. So we'll be here all next week, you know, meeting with our players. This is different. We're in this era now of transfers and transfer portals, and so next week every school across the country will be meeting with their team, and every position coach figuring out, all right, what's your plan? as we move forward, and we'll do that. And then we'll go out and recruit next weekend, and probably the first of the following week. And then, the plan now is to come back in and practice a little bit on the weekends, Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, with our guys getting ready for bowl prep, bring in recruits whenever we can, whenever the dead period opens up. The signing period this year is the 21st, which is a little bit later. So we're actually going to have, next week's dead, but we're still going to have 2 full weeks of recruiting, and really 3 weekends to bring recruits in. And we'll certainly bring them in. We've talked about a lot about, you guys have written about our commitments in high school, but December 5th, the portal's going to open up, and there's already guys that are already in the portal now from lower level programs because their season's over. And we'll be able to bring in some guys from the portal at that point in time. If we go back and look at the guys that we've gone and gotten last year, they've really helped our team, and huge impacts for us. And so we'll dip into that again this year and hopefully get some impactful players.
Coach, we hear stories about fans being kind of off the rails about rivalry games. Do you get much of that, or have you gotten much of that in your time here of people being kind of unreasonable about this game?
I mean, they're fans, and they're going to be fanatics about this, particularly this game. It's a rivalry game, and it doesn't matter about records. We're both undefeated or hadn't won a game. I mean, your fan base wants to win this one for bragging rights. So yeah, I mean, we hear about it, and we throughout the whole year, no matter where we go or whatever. If there's some fan from either side, a lot of times will make a comment about it, but it obviously is a huge game and one that we want to try to go get so we can get we don't have to hear some of that stuff in the off season.
I'm curious what kind of advice you've had for, if any, for Kenny Payne and what he's experiencing with some early struggles and how you've managed to turn it around. If you've had any advice for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think KP's got a plan, and he's got to work his plan. And I think when you face adversity and you go through some tough times, and which he knew was going to be a tough season. I mean, he knew it was going to be hard. You don't necessarily go into it, you don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be pretty tough. So sticking to the plan and continue to work, even when sometimes it doesn't look good. And I've been in that situation exactly like he's been in right now, and it's not fun. I can tell you that. But I think just knowing that it'll work, and you continue to believe in it, you're going to have a ton of naysayers. You're going to have a ton of people saying, "What are we doing?" But just keep battling and keep sticking to the plan, and then eventually it'll come around. It happened for me at App State my first year. I mean, we were 4-8. The next year started out 1-5, and then we won a ton of games. So I think this season here, this year, we faced a lot of the same things. But you just stick with the plan, continue on, and do things right. And I know KP will, and that's what he's got to do.
One other thing about the Kentucky game, you said last year it's 14-7. You're driving. There's a little scuffle on the sideline and all. Will you talk to the players before the game and kind of warn them, because there have been some scuffles, not only here, up there in this rivalry?
Yeah, we'll certainly address it. I think anytime you get over emotional in a situation like this, it takes away from the play. So we have to worry about us. We have to worry about our guys and playing the ones beside you. That's who we're playing for, and focus on your job and not anything else. Let's let the fans and everybody else do all that stuff. Let's focus on what we have to do, which is our job each and every play. That one play focus. So yeah, we're talking about that this week, and but I know guys are going to be emotional, but we have to channel in the right direction and not get. I thought we got sideways on that one last year, and it kind of got us out of our game. All right. Thanks, guys.